Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Mike Brenner coming to you with the Brenner Blast and the Brenner Breakdown for NBA and college basketball. Here we are, March 23rd. It's a Friday morning, coming off of a night last night. Could have went either way. Ended up breaking even on both ends, paid picks and on the video picks, 1-1 and 1-1. So got some juice to make up, got some momentum to pick up, and going into the weekend, we need to stay focused and get it done. Kentucky falls to Kansas State last night. FSU pounds Gonzaga. Loyola Chicago, all right, their prayers continue to get answered. Big win there, 69-68 over Nevada. And Michigan just absolutely dominated start to finish over A&M and those three big players. Michigan, wow, that was a team that was barely even talked about in the beginning of the season. All right, guys, other half of Sweet 16. Let's get into it. All right, expecting some good results today as we roll into the weekend. Again, no big damage done yesterday. Could have went either way, and we absolutely were that close from being able to sweep. So here we go. Clemson at Kansas, number 5 Clemson taking on number 1 seeded Kansas. Clemson 0-4 ATS its last 4 versus Big 12 opponents, okay? That's something to keep in mind. Kansas 7-3 ATS last 10 tournament games. They've won 9 out of 10 straight up. This team has had some really tight games, though, as of late. Clemson, all right, they rolled Auburn 84-53. Was that a sign of how good Clemson is, or maybe that Auburn just wasn't ready? I don't know. No call on that one. Kansas -5. Then later on after that game, you got West Virginia taking on Villanova. West Virginia won its first 2 games in the tournament by a combined 40 points. The defense is doing what it typically does for a Bob Huggins squad, but the offense has been thriving and shooting very effectively as well. This is that something gotta give game, because I'm telling you, Villanova, number 1 shooting team in the nation, averaging 86.9 points. Might as well just round it off. 87 points a game, number 1 in the nation. So we're going to see what happens. Nova's going to have to tighten up on that defense versus West Virginia. This is going to be a battle, and it seems like the number 5's been the big spread for the tighter games so far in these regions. Villanova favored -5, no call on that one. And you got number 11th ranked Syracuse in that bracket going up against number 2 Duke. Duke is favored by 11.5, a big number here. All right, this could be a big defensive battle, this type of game. Both of these teams go with a 2-3 zone. Syracuse has been frustrating opponents early on in the tournament, and Duke went to this 2-3 zone about 3 weeks ago during the regular season, and it really paid dividends. We talked about that on several occasions. Marvin Bagley III in beast mode for Duke. Syracuse, all right, they go as Tyus Battle goes, and Brissett. These two lead the team. I think this team's got no quit in them. This is 2 coaches that respect each other with the utmost. And again, Boeheim and Coach K, it's not their first go-round, so it's going to be an interesting game. But 11.5 points, that's a bunch of points. No call on that one. Duke -11.5. Then you got the Texas Tech versus Purdue. I believe this could be the weakest link in the whole tournament. I may be wrong, but I don't get excited when these 2 teams, when this game stands out. And you got a number 2 going against a number 3, and still just not a whole lot of excitement there. Both of them are 2-7 ATS its last 9, so they're both not ticket cashing machines. Purdue is favored in this game -2. Not a whole lot to say. All right, Purdue won their last game without 7'2" Haas, the big man. See what happens. See if they can show up against Texas Tech. Again, Purdue -2, no call. That's just one of those games. Doesn't seem to do it for me. But we do have a call in the tournament. It's going to be a 3-team, 7-point teaser. All right, write this down, guys. I like it. I've already done the math using 2 dogs and a favored in this 3-team teaser tonight. We're going to be taking Syracuse +18.5, West Virginia +12, and Kansas +2. All right, so 2 dogs that are going to be just adding on, and then 1 favorite that will now be getting points. So again, Syracuse, West Virginia, Kansas, 3-team, 7-point teaser, Brenner style tonight, baby. Let's get it done. All right, let's talk about some NBA. Got 1 pick there. Had a real sharp call last night with Philadelphia 76ers. They came out hungry. Clippers at Indiana. Both teams battling for the playoffs. Indiana's favored -3. No call in that one. Denver against Washington. Denver finally showed up on the road, which they better be doing because they're next, I think, 8 out out of 10 games are on the road. All right, they're 1.5 games behind the Jazz for 8 spots. So Denver is fighting every night for its playoff life. This is the playoffs. Washington, they're a half game behind 76ers for the 4th spot. More pressure on Denver, all right? And I'm telling you, Jokic has been just a beast, Nikola Jokic, for Denver. So I don't know. Right now, man, this is one of the ones I want to pull that trigger, but I'm going to hold off for the moment. Washington favored at home, -1.5. Denver's got to win a couple more games on the road to prove their worth there. Then you got Milwaukee at Chicago. All right, spoiler roll for Chicago. They've been doing it without Dunn, Levine, Markkanen. They're just really a patch squad. Looking at some young talent for next year. Wow, not a great place to be right now playing ball in Chicago. Milwaukee, on the other hand, pretty much got the 8th spot locked up, but they better not take that for granted. They're playing shitty basketball. They've lost 9 of 13. All right, 9 of 13. No mojo going into the playoffs. All right, that spells disaster. So doesn't matter if you already locked up a spot. You better put your playoff hat on. Again, Chicago got nothing to lose. This is going to be one of our plays. Pulling that trigger, baby. Milwaukee Bucks on the full game, -5. That's right, Milwaukee at Chicago. They got to show up tonight. Parker and company got to help out the Greek Freak. This team has too much talent. They got to get it done and pick up some wins going into the playoffs. Milwaukee on the full game, -5. And you got another interesting one. Miami taking on OKC. OKC favored -6.5. Miami without Whiteside's a different team. They look tired, but they're 7-2 ATS and 7-2 straight up their last 9 games. So who am I to doubt Miami? OKC at home favored -6.5. They have to stay focused. 7-3 their last 10 straight up. No call on that. Then you got Boston at Portland. Boston favored -7 on the road at Portland. Ooh, interesting line. Boston, they could rest. All right, there's not really a big thrill for them to chase the Raptors, although with that Raptors loss against Cleveland the other night, Boston might rethink that. Portland, it's back to business after that streak snap. They got personal reasons to get this done, and mentally they got to get an edge. That's what's going to separate them if they want any hope at all contesting in the West. No call. Boston -7 on the road. That's a big line. Utah against the Spurs, 40-31. Utah taking on 42-30 Spurs. These guys are battling. This is positioning for playoffs. This is one of those games that's going to be awesome to watch. A great game to watch. No call in it. Spurs -3. Still no one's talking about Kawhi Leonard. What the hell's going on with that guy? That's like the 8th mystery of the world. All right. Again, Spurs -3. No call on that. Phoenix Suns going to Cleveland. There's no line out when I film this. The Suns 19-53. Another boring season in basketball. Lackluster. Disappointing for the fans. I don't know how they put fans in the seats out there in Phoenix unless they're bored. Got nothing else better to do. Cleveland showed Toronto that, hey, they may be like 10 games behind them for the chase for first spot, but they're better than them. And I believe that Cleveland will have their number. I mean, Kevin Love, only second game back. You're trying to re-gel with everybody, and you still beat Toronto. Toronto's struggling, guys. I'm not hating on them. This is what they do this time of year. They're not going to win the East. There's no way in hell Toronto wins that East. I would be probably the most surprised person in the world. No line out yet. Suns at Cleveland. Then you got Minnesota -7 against New York. All right. Feeling that playoff intensity, Minnesota. They secured a spot in the playoffs. They're sitting at number 7, so they got every reason to keep pushing. Karl Anthony Towns, 23-15. That's what he averaged versus the Knicks in January. The Knicks, they got nothing to lose. Enes Kanter's having fun playing basketball again. 6 of 9 games this month he's had double-doubles in, so he is really showing up right now. Minnesota -7, and then the last game is Golden State versus Atlanta. Golden State favored by 10 at home. I got no call on that. There's no telling who's going to show up, who's going to suit up. Hell, it might be a peanut vendor tonight. No telling with Golden State. All right, and Atlanta, they got nothing to lose, but they're dealing with injury issues. This is one of them dangerous games, man. If you don't need to bet it, then don't bet it. All right, guys, I got 2 free picks total. Again, we're taking that game. We know it's got to get done tonight because they better get in playoff mode. We're talking about Milwaukee on the full game -5, and then in college basketball, we're going with the 3-team teaser. We're taking West Virginia, we're taking Syracuse, and we're taking Kansas. So 2 solid picks, Brenner style. It's the weekend. Make sure you're planning some family time. I know we're getting into the Elite 8. It's going to be a great weekend action-wise, but still, make sure you put family first. Help out a stranger along the way, guys. Win or lose, we show up every time. We show Show up with a positive attitude. I feel a surge coming on, man. I'm telling you, I know when these things happen. So there's no quit on this team. A split last night, no split tonight. We're going to come out on top. Again, 2 picks. Don't miss it. Milwaukee, full game. Milwaukee Bucks, full game, -5. And in college basketball, Syracuse, West Virginia, and Kansas on a 7-point teaser. All right, guys, build that bank, beat your bookie, and make sure you bet responsible and do it Brenner style. Don't forget the Brenner Blast and the Brenner Breakdown is coming to you, baby. Get ready for the weekend action.